Hello, folks. How you doing? I thought I'd talk about state of altered reality. Oh, there's more than one. Okay, so we say states of altered reality. Now we go back to uh, in the Greek mythology, they have a goddess called Isis. Well, she's the same as the Kimite goddess Osset. Okay, they're actually the same. So Osset says that no mortal has ever lifted her veil. Okay. But she didn't say that her veil was never lifted. She just said no mortal has done it. Okay. So now, this mortal who has never done it is a person or people who live in the world of time, live in the world of earth time. They have earthly consciousness. In other words, said, these are folks who deal with their passions, their emotions, and so forth and so on. Their pride, their prestige, their fears, their hatreds, all of that. This is the mortal world. This is what people deal with in the mortal world. And she said, well, those folks have not lifted my veil. Never have, and probably never will. Well, they won't. Okay? So now, she's talking about folks who go through an altered state of consciousness. Now, and the mystery of these goddesses is that they had formulas in their associated temples and whatnot. Okay? But anybody can enter these states of altered consciousness. And they do it often without even trying. But they don't know it. They don't know they have entered such a state. Okay? Now, we'll take a person, for example, who might be jogging, walking, riding a bicycle, or driving a car. Such a person at this time could enter into a state of altered consciousness. And they will continue driving safely, say if a person's driving down the highway. But here's a state wherein a person driving down the highway has given up control unknowingly to his spirit. An altered state. He's in the spiritual world. And he drives down the highway. He will stay in the lane. He will drive very safely, but he will pass by his exits. He might pass by 2 or 3 exits or whatever. And he might remain in this state for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Okay? But when he comes out of this state, he realized then he has passed his exit. He said, whoa, how did I get way down here, on the highway? But he will not recall anything that took place. His spirit had taken over. His memory wasn't working, or he would recall what went on, you know what I mean, as he was driving down the highway. Or as his spirit was driving down the highway, perhaps I should say. So that is a state of altered consciousness. The spirit took over. The spirit was the consciousness, evidently. Or maybe the person just can't remember. He might have been aware of what he was doing when he was in that state. He just can't recall. But it happens. And it can happen, like I said, to a jogger, a person walking. It's when the person is in a state he slips into a state of like total balance. This can happen then. He don't have to be aware of it. But it happens. Then we have another state. We have a state what we can refer to again as the presence. This is a state where there is no thinking whatsoever going on. No thinking in the previous state either that can be recalled by the person. But anyway, no thinking is going on. No determinations, no decisions are being made. Okay? In the state of the presence. But the person has awareness. He's aware of what he sees in this state. Okay? But there's no passion involved. no feelings whatsoever, no emotion, no fear, no hatred, no love, no feelings whatsoever, no pride, no prestige, no feelings of self-importance. None of these are present, you see, and this is state of the presence. In this state, a spirit will return to a person. It'll come, and the person will know it, the person will see it. But the question is he seeing it with these two eyes, or is he seeing it with this eye? You see. Now, the person doesn't have to be a person who made an attempt or who intended for this to happen. It could happen to anybody, unaware. But still they enter this state, and they will see a spirit, okay? And when they awake, they will recall what they saw. The memory's working in this state. It just didn't have any feelings. But when that person begins to wake up, the first sign of coming out of that stupor, the spirit leaves. And that person will see the spirit leave. You see? And so we see now that this state requires balance, no thinking, no passion whatsoever. And so this spirit then is reminiscent of, let's say, the Ba that has been talked about. The Ba then is in all religious scriptures, the spirit, all religious scriptures. Now, the Ba was united with the child in utero. The Ba and the Ka in utero. But when the person's born into the world, the Ba separates. You see? And the Ba will not return or stay with the person until that person has become balanced as the person was when he was a baby in utero. Then the Ba will return in this life. So when a person enters into that state of the presence, the Ba will return. But when a person comes out of that state, the Ba leaves. But if the person never enters into the state of the presence and remains there, the Ba will spend the rest of life with the person. Imagine after the life too, after the person's dead. You see? Now, the thing is about, well, how does these things come about in the mythology? Well, the mythology is representative of the past of the human past. Okay? And the most ancient humans didn't have a cerebral cortex. That is the top part of the brain. They sometimes call it the neocortex, because it was the last part of the brain to come in. So it's new, since neocortex, okay? But the old folks, they didn't have it. Therefore, they didn't think. And thinking is, or non-thinking, or no thinking, is one of the requirements of seeing the spirit. So the ancients had that much going for them, okay? And so all they would have to do is, say, control their passions. They didn't think. We got that straightened out. But they became a well-balanced people. Oh, they were born like that. Okay? And so they might have been born with their Ba and Ka intact. You see? So seeing spirit was an easy thing for them. And so too their clairvoyance, etc. So now, when folks today who conduct certain exercises, okay, spiritual exercises, they want to enter a state of no thinking, just like the ancestors were in because, well, the ancestors didn't have the cerebral cortex, so they weren't thinking. So now, the folks in the present generation who does these practices want to enter the state of mind that the ancients were in, like the child in utero. So the child in utero, even though he may have a cerebral cortex, he probably isn't thinking. Okay? So therefore, he would be in a state like the ancient humans, who, by the way, like I said, didn't have a cerebral cortex. You see? So the mythology tells us these things. It tells us of the Ba and Ka. It tells us of the Ba's, let's say, we call it desire, or desire to reunite with the person. Okay? Like it was united with the person when the person was in utero, or as a child. Okay? And so here we have the Ba and Ka, and here we have the spirit Ba, okay, that is spoken about so often, but in mysterious ways in the mythology. So when a person enters into the state of altered consciousness, that person has at that time lifted the veil of Isis, or the veil of Osset. Because when he's in spirit world, he is not in the world of time. During that period, he has left the world of time. He's not even thinking, he certainly isn't concerned about the time. No time is in that state of mind. It is a state of altered consciousness. And everyone experiences it from time to time, but people probably think they were dreaming. But there's a difference between the dream and these altered states of consciousness. Because in a dream, emotions and passions are present, and people are in fear, they're running, or whatever they go through in dreams. You know what I mean? And this will keep the spirit away. The spirit's not going to come near a person under those conditions. Okay, folks, thank you, and have a good one, and subscribe if you can. Subscribe, and I would appreciate that very much. And have a good one, and we'll get back talking about mythology. Thank you. Have a good day, and bye.